Welcome back. This is going to be another installment for youth baseball introduction, instruction, coaching instruction for the new coach that might be coming in at the younger ages, covering youth sports from ages in baseball within 8 to 12U. And it also extends to professional college assessment coaches. So with that, in the previous video, I mentioned that we're compiling a podcast together right now with some major coaches across the area or across the United States. So we're going to have scouts from different D1 colleges on. We're going to have former MLB players. We're going to have some of the top World Series coaches throughout the different reasons on the podcast. We're going to try to shoot for 6 to 10 individuals, and it's going to compile multiple different podcasts. So if you are a new parent to baseball, if your player is getting into that 7 and 8-year-old range, and you need better instruction of what define the system that works for you, this is not a paid advertisement. We're not trying to sell you anything. We're only going to have the discussion that you can follow along with, so that you have the information, can create a question list, so that you can approach the local sports organizations within baseball and see which is the best fit, and also the expectations that your player will have within those groups, so that you can best advance your player and their talent level in accordance to the organization that you have access to. Today, again, this is going to be kind of part two. We have kind of thrown some names around, and right now I'm releasing this on the Approaching Target YouTube channel. We're going to create a different channel. It's going to be, I'm going to transfer all of my baseball videos onto that channel. The podcasts are going to be broadcast from a shared, most of these individuals have YouTube channels already. So for me to start fresh, it's not a good idea. But we're going to at least have a link to where you guys can go to watch the videos that I've already produced and the new podcasts that are going to follow. We're going to get into their information, what they've shared, review it. So underneath 1 hour recording, you're going to get a lot of information. With the last video, I talked about player retention. Not only keeping players around so that they don't leave baseball at the 13 or 14-year-old range, the player retention and the information they're being fed. So coaches, this is also for you. What level of instruction should you be giving to the appropriate age groups, and what should they expect? Where should you set the goals for the players to achieve? Today, we're going to be talking about the baseball swing and the pitch per view. So again, we're going to go into where do you actually take that 7 to 8-year-old or that novice first-year player, and how do you coach them to identify a good swing? It goes in conjunction with the pitch preview, because every player has the opportunity to actually see the pitcher deliver the ball before they actually take the plate, before they step into the batter's box. This is information that we can even coach to 7 or 8-year-old players to increase their batting average. Once you've increased their batting average and built up their confidence, when they start feeling the impact of the ball in the bat, within your instruction, you're going to be able to coach them with more power and more swing velocity. When they start hitting the ball further and further, they're going to get really excited, and they're going to be able to achieve higher goals, setting the standards higher. Again, if you're one of these organizations that promises development, and by the end of the season, you've only seen natural improvement with experience and age, you as a coach are not setting the bar very high. At the end of the season, your players should be either just below the focal point or the goal, or just above it. If you have a player that has exceeded their goal within the season and you haven't sat down with them to set a new goal, you're setting them up to fail. Okay? You're setting baseball in general up to fail, because that's why we have such a large number of individuals leaving baseball in that 13 to 14-year-old level. It's also adding to player burnout. If they don't have something to focus on, they get bored. They don't see baseball as being a challenge anymore. Excuse me. So, starting with baseball bat swing. Where on the baseball diamond does a player actually have the first opportunity to observe a pitch delivery? Is it when they take the batter's box? No, they get a chance to preview the pitcher and the delivery, whether that's from a machine pitch at 7U to a coach pitch at 8U or from a player pitch at 9U and above. Where is that on the field? And have you actually instructed the players to identify field dimensions? How far the distance is of the base, how far the outfield fence is. Okay, folks, it only takes a little bit of classroom time to even get a 7 or 8-year-old to understand one thing. Ask a 7-year-old after their first game, even if it's rec ball, how far is the outfield fence? How far is it from home plate? What does it take to hit a home run in that field? They will understand. They will retain that information because without talking to a player, every player's dream is to hit a home run. Every player, okay? Realistically, they might be worried about, hey, can I even hit the ball? Through coaching, you can definitely instruct them how to do it. But the first place they're actually able to see a pitch preview is on the field before the batter's box. They know it as soon as they step out of the dugout. The on-deck location. How many of your players leave the dugout with their baseball bat and they're out there with, the weighted rings that go around their baseball bats and they're trying to, imitate heavier bats when they get up there. The bat that might be heavy to them seems a little bit lighter. It gives them a little bit more confidence. When we've actually realized that a player that puts a weight on the bat or pick up multiple bats to try to swing and get those muscles warmed up, they actually swing slower. So again, these metal rings or weighted rings that go on the baseball bats, or having a warm-up bat on the side and then some lighter composite or new generation bat is actually used up to the plate, they're losing velocity. It took me 49 years to figure that out, folks, and I've been coaching for over 5 years now in the youth sports level. I seen a rash of my own players going into a hitting slump. And it was when I started introducing them to heavier bats for warm-up, and then we're introduced to tournaments that allowed you AAA bats. So the lighter bats, you think their swing velocity would increase, it actually decreased. Okay, so collecting statistics as a coach is very important. You can identify why players are in a slump. When we went to the last tournament and we restricted players from the heavier bats or the weighted rings to where they're warming up in the batters or in the warm-up area, their bat velocities increased. Okay, just a note. But going for the pitch review, are your players getting up to the warm-up thing and they're just swinging away? They're, saying hi to mom or waving or watching something else, or are they actually paying attention to the pitch? Because they get a chance to actually see the pitcher's delivery without taking the batter's box. And what are pitchers normally doing on the very first pitch? A fastball right down the middle. Right? That's where this is the strike zone. Especially within the first 2 or 3 innings, coaches will instruct their pitcher, the very first pitch to each batter, fastball right down the middle. If your next player within the roster is in the batting box, they get a view. They can actually go up there and warm up. Pretend as if they're actually in the batter's box, that they're being delivered to. That's going to give them an introductory to the pitch. So when they do take the batter's box, they're already in tune with the pitcher. That information is not too advanced for 8, 9, and 10-year-olds to pick up. But are you as a coach, are you introducing to that? Have you broken down the actual field dimensions and the locations where they're supposed to be on the field? Okay? One of the first instructions all baseball players should get is field dimensions and locations and what they're intended for. Yes, the on deck location is to have the player closer so when the batter either hits or gets struck out, it's a time saving manner of getting your next player there right away. They know in their batting order when they should be out there. But while they're there, are they seeing the pitch per view and are they adjusting to it? They should be watching the pitch and practicing swinging as if they're up to bat. It will advance their batting average. Guaranteed. Now, this is the bat swing and pitch per view intro to the coming podcast that will be coming up. Again, in the last video, we're going to have over 150 years involved with this podcast. Current college coaches to former MLB players, to high school coaches, and current youth baseball coaches, both from Little League and from travel ball. Okay, so for you folks, for your coaches, for the parents and players that are just getting into baseball, even some of your advanced, older age kids, you might want to tune in. Like I said, we've been jokingly tossing the name around what we should call it. My suggestion is Coach Know-It-All. Okay, so I'm going to introduce him. I'm Coach Know-It-All. All right, we're going to ask the important questions so that the parents and coaches actually know how to introduce the stuff. Now, obviously within travel ball, most travel ball coaches have to pass some certification, whether it's through Babe Ruth and Cal Ripken, to local organizations teaching things about, recognizing abuse. That's not going to necessarily be part of the podcast or this instruction. But even if you are a volunteer parent in rec ball, you're going to have a much better idea of what to expect from players, what you can coach them, and what they will retain out of that instruction. Okay? Now, one of the other examples I'm going to provide today in this video is that we're going to compare the mechanics of the swing. There's hundreds and if not thousands of different swing mechanics from baseball players throughout history. The most extreme examples I've been able to find, and there are things that you can look up yourself, is the swing mechanics between Ken Griffey Sr. to Ken Griffey Jr. Okay, so you're actually going to be able to see the genetic connection in their swing stances, to Pete Rose, the Major League Baseball hit leader of all time. Okay, dramatic differences in their batting stances, their batting mechanics. Ken Griffey Sr. and Jr., they typically stood in the exact same spot in the batting box, right next to the plate. Ken Griffey Sr. liked to crowd the plate. Ken Griffey Jr. always placed himself right in the middle of the batting box. Pete Rose moved around in the batting box almost every single pitch. He was able to identify where to start in the batting box because of his pitch preview. When he was on deck, he was able to watch the pitch and get a feel of the speed that was going in. Okay? So between the last video explaining to even younger players, youth players as young as 7, 8 years old, allowing them to identify the ball immediately upon release, being able to read the laces, and understanding the swing mechanics and the pitch per view from the batter's box. Just those 4 things. You can coach to any level of baseball player and it will increase their batting average. At every level. From T-ball, or excuse me, they're not pitcher, but from ball delivery ball, so even Pee-wee level Little League starts at 6, through coach pitch or coach delivery, all the way to the majors. So right now, I believe Mr. Yelich is in a hitting slump. Okay? Mr. Chourio has even admitted in the last 24 hours that he's in a hitting slump. He needs to go back to the basics. Okay? Taking this information, okay, taking this information from Coach Know-It-All, he could change his hitting slump. And that's going to benefit our team with the Milwaukee Brewers. Okay, so folks, even a novice asking questions, reviewing some of the techniques, looking at different batters' mechanics in their swing, to even identifying the pitch preview. Major League Baseball players can also do this. Looking at individuals like Pete Rose, okay, he didn't hit a whole lot of home runs, okay, where Ken Griffey Jr. obviously is some of our home run leaders. The correct spot for increasing batting average is going to be more of the Pete Rose stance. Jackson Chourio, obviously, he can hit home runs. We know this. But he's in a hitting slump as far as his batting average. So can he tweak his batting stance a little bit more towards Pete Rose? Can he change the location where he's standing in the batter's box to increase his batting average and get out of the slump? Okay, this is the kind of information that we're going to be talking about in the Coach Know-It-All podcast. Again, it's not going to be one individual's interpretation or opinion. It's going to include Major League Baseball players. It's going to include college coaches, high school coaches, even youth coaches. So they're going to be learning along the way within the discussion and how we can improve baseball as a whole. If you are a parent of a baseball player, okay, you're going to love this podcast. Time frame should be within the next month or so in the off season. For me personally, to close out this video, I have an athlete that's a multi-sport athlete. Okay, my youngest son is a multi-sport athlete. His primary talent matches baseball. My entire team that I had this last year within youth, 8U travel ball, every player that was in the top 50% were athletes that played multiple sports. I had wrestlers that went to state for their age group. I had football players. I had hockey players. Okay, a very diverse group of individuals. And out of that top 50%, I have about 3 where their primary sport is baseball. I've seen improvements for the entire team. But for the advanced players with a little bit more interest, where baseball is actually life in their existence, we've seen dramatic improvements over the season. So even you select baseball coaches out there or privately owned equities that do, training or travel baseball organizations or own baseball organizations, you're going to be able to benefit from this information. We are opening the box, okay? We're opening the conversation so that we can all share the information that we've had over 150 years worth and start getting it out to the parents so that we can start kind of collecting the information and getting everybody on the same page. Major League Baseball is going through their bureaucracies right now with the salary cap discussions. We've seen so many adjustments in the technology and with the umpiring staff and unions. There's a chance that next year's baseball experience is going to be interrupted. Let's take this time now as adults to start focusing in on the lower ages that will still continue to play. They might not be able to tune in to TV or visit one of the local ball stadiums for Major League Baseball. They might not be operating. So let's get ahead of this. It is August 2026. Let us prepare for the next few months within discussions and podcasts and see if we can't change a few things. With all the drama going on right now in the Southwest region of the Little League World Series, the rest of us that are not competing at the level, let's see what we can do to change our perspectives. Let's see if we can not necessarily reinvent the wheel, but let's compile all the information that we've been able to gather in over 100 years of baseball and find out what works. And it should be a living practice book, something that can be updated and changed with every age group as the rules and practices of baseball also change. So with that, Have a good one. Hopefully you enjoyed the last two videos. If you didn't watch the last one, please tune into that. Between that video and this one, okay, approximately an hour long video, you're going to be able to introduce instruction, coaching of baseball players, coaching of other teammates, including parent volunteer coaches. You're going to have instruction how to improve the batting average of your players and to identify and introduce kid pitch players to the appropriate challenges that they need. Okay? Age appropriate for travel ball or serious little league players. And again, it will transfer to even older age groups. So again, we'll catch you later.